All right. Welcome back to the Built to Grow podcast. I'm your host, Tim Lyons, in the studio, joined by Randy Hingston.
Hello, my friend.
How are you doing?
How's it going?
That you got like a sunburn.
Yeah, it's very visible. If everybody sees on YouTube, I have a nice white stripe across my forehead. Take a look. Yeah, I was at the NHRA Nationals this weekend.
Yeah,
down in
hat
Phoenix.
on backwards. Yeah, I got the same sunburn in Florida.
Yeah, yeah. My brother and I were
South
comparing them at the end of the day, and we're like,
Whoops.
yeah, that's going to be a couple days.
Yeah, it's going to come back. So
yeah. Check us out on YouTube. Get a good laugh.
Did it, didn't? Awesome. All right. So Grow Summit's coming up quick. What episode is this, guys? Or do we know? 419 episodes. Dang. We need to get Joe Rogan on for 420. Or Elon Musk.
Elon? Yeah, there you go.
Come on over. Wouldn't that be great? We got some killer guests coming out to the Grow Summits from speakers, great vendors. It's a big party, guys. You're gonna want to be at this. FitProGrowSummit.com. Check it out. Your tickets, I think they're going up if they haven't gone up already, and they're gonna keep going up. So the cheapest they will be is the day you look at them,
100%.
because they only go up after. So go check them out at FitProGrowSummit.com. Okay. So this episode, guys, is we're going to talk about a lot about the cost of inaction, right? And I'm going to tell a story. You guys kind of understand my story. I was a gym owner in 2009. I moved into this new location in 2015, and about that time, I was invited to come out to an event from our, it's called the STS. It was a mastermind group. They didn't really know what it was at the time, but got a call from my friend Frank and Rick Mayo. To come on out to Rick's place in Atlanta, join a bunch of guys. We're going to do something pretty cool.
Yeah.
And which was interesting because that was like the week of my grand opening. And I decided to go ahead and head out because I knew how important it is to surround yourself with the best, right? Like I want to be around the best people, right? And that was 2015. And every time I joined a group like that, or the inner circle with Russell Brunson and Todd Brown's E5, whatever, we've grown.
Top one.
The top one, yeah. We've grown. We've grown. We grow, and it's because of all the decisions to put myself and put the businesses in those environments.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's the opposite that could also happen. I could have decided not to do anything, and I could be, looking at my P&L a year from now and be in the same exact place, or hoping for the best. Hope is not a strategy.
Yeah,
It's the decisions that you make along the way that are going to result. They're going to create the result. It's the culmination of small decisions over time.
Action.
Actions. Yeah, decision.
Yeah. Followed by the action.
Yeah, they're a very good point. It's the actions. Yeah. I will tell you, and it's interesting. I've been getting some calls lately from some people that I was in that group with, and I'm happy to help.
Absolutely.
Love helping people. I want to, see what I can do to help. Right, whatever it takes. And I know how difficult it is for them to get on calls with me because we were at one point the same place.
Exactly.
Because when we joined that group, kind of everybody was at the same level. There were some guys doing a little bit better, some a little worse, whatever. And I hosted a webinar, and it was like, showing everybody the numbers. You saw, a couple episodes we talked about or whatever. And the gyms that are reaching out to me, they're like, wow, I didn't realize, or whatever. I'm so proud of you. That's awesome, but I'm stuck. Yeah. I'm stuck, right? And after that STS kind of dissolved several years ago, many of them just kind of didn't do anything.
Sure.
And I would tell you that probably the biggest difference is that we did do something. We created the Iron Circle. Because there was, that was the point. There was no mastermind I wanted to join.
Yep. In the fitness space.
In the fitness space. There's plenty of them. I just didn't, think that they were a good fit for me or whatever reason. They weren't the best of the best. I was doing better than most of them anyway. I was like, let's create our own,
Sure.
And so a lot of the folks from the STS are now in the Iron Circle, which is awesome, and they are doing amazing.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest breakthrough that most of them are seeing is that the thermostat, and I'm going to talk about this at the growth, some of the thermostat of your life everybody kind of has this comfort level of where, like, let's just put a number on it. Like if I make $100,000 this year, to me, that's good. If I'm making less than that, I need to work harder. If I make more than that, I kind of chill a little bit because 100,000, it seems to be good in my circle, for example. But if your circle is, 100,000 is the lowest and everybody's doing 400,000, well, your thermostat, you can change your internal thermostat to say, hey, this is what should be normal now. And I think the biggest takeaway and the biggest breakthrough from especially those coming from other masterminds into ours is they didn't realize what the ceiling should be. The ceiling over there was set really low, and people doing really well over there are doing okay over here. And I wanted to show people that there's a lot more to this game that they can make. And they should want to make. Yes. Because there was a point in time where I didn't know what was good. Are we doing good? How's everybody else doing? Should we work hard? Is there more out there? Can we squeeze some more juice out of this lemon, right? Or whatever you call it. And I never knew it. And I think being around the folks that we have in the Iron Circle, them being around us, they realize there's way more juice to squeeze.
Oh, absolutely.
And there's a few knobs you can twist and do this and make things even better without having to work harder. That's the thing, because Mike McAllis had a great quote. He said, scale is growing your business without working any harder. That makes a ton of sense, right? It's leverage, it's all this stuff, right? And so I think the big takeaway was that the fact that we did do something and some of the other folks may not have, but I think, now they're starting to come around. Maybe they're going to come and, maybe join or whatever. But I think there's a lot of folks out there just kind of treading water, not knowing how to grow the business, not changing anything because it's maybe the pain's not high enough, or maybe they don't know that there's more to squeeze out of this thing, or they think this is about it. Because there was a point in time I was like, man, this must be it, because the people I'm around are doing less. So this must be it.
And that right there is a big component to all of it, is the people that you surrounded yourself by influenced that
thought process.
Exactly. Your level of belief was restricted to what you saw was possible based on the evidence surrounding you, right? Your environment told you, well, you're probably about the top. And then the next thing you know, you walk into a different room and you're like, holy shit, I am nobody in this world, right? Yes, or like, I'm a small fish in the pond. And I know some of the other masterminds we've been part of, like that was wildly eye-opening, you know what I mean? For when we talked revenue and numbers, I mean, there were some 8-figure businesses that we're sitting at the table with, and that's a different position to be in. And not saying
outside the fitness.
I was just going to say, I was going to clarify that. Not necessarily saying that this business or, the fitness businesses can get to that level. They were obviously in an entirely different industry. But it does show you what's possible. And it starts to change your belief around what you're doing and what's possible with your situation. And, it goes back to, our buddy, the law of averages, pulling you back, keeping you, like that comfort, consistency. You being the anomaly, being the one that's successful it's the one-off. It's the rare situation. Most people, move through with the herd, and that's the norm. And when you do kind of stray outside, life is a way of trying to suck you back in. And but to your point, the cost of inactivity, I don't think it necessarily was intentional on their end. Like I'm not going to go choose to be part of something else necessarily. I think it, and most of us go through these things. We think that, or we find out, we begin to believe that, what we have is good enough. And I think that the situation that you've put yourself in, and we've done with the forced growth is what it really comes down to, is we're not going to sit by and just run and hope and think that things are good. Whether it be we're surrounding ourselves with other individuals that are doing better, or we're pursuing coaches that are telling us that there's more opportunity, one way or another, we're forcing that change of belief that then comes with, the decisions for that desire and the actions to follow.
Right.
And if you first aren't in the right room, that's your biggest problem.
Well, I think there's a lot of folks not in any room,
and that's
unfortunately.
And that's the thing.
They're on their own.
I mean, we are coaches. I have personal coaches. We've had coaches like we've talked about. I mean, like we're always in a position where we force growth. to us, that's the norm. And I think that that's a big realization for us lately, is that most people don't have resources like that. I mean, I've been doing it since I was 21. I'll be 36 next month. Like I could not imagine not having somebody, to lean on, or somebody in my ear saying, hey, get your ass going, and that type of thing. Because, even with the best of intentions, we all fall and falter and get comfortable and things like that. So having that, like you said, like you have to be part of the room. And there's a difference. A while ago, we talked about, I can't remember the term I used, but like being close to the situation versus being all in and like actually part of the group, right? If you're hanging around with other gym owners, you have the occasional conversation with them, like it's one thing. But if you're we talk daily with this group. We talk monthly with a scheduled call and a plan for growth. We meet 4 times a year for the purpose of, walking away with massive potential and growth. I mean, what was it? 120 something, 160% increase in profit from one of our gyms over the last year. God, this isn't stuff. This isn't another marketing campaign that's going to put 4 clients in your gym. This changes your life.
I know.
You know what I mean?
It is pretty cool to see all of this happen, and it's happening. It's happening organically because it's people seeing other people doing things, kind of asking questions, doing it themselves. Everybody in this room, in that iron circle, takes action.
100%.
And that's why it's not like they're seeing other people do it and they don't do anything about it. They just also do it.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, cool, that did work. Let's do something else, right? And honestly, for me, legacy personal training and all this stuff, I hope I'm not the most successful at that level. I don't want to be, because it's going to be the average of everybody else, going to come down, right? Like I want other people higher, and there are people higher in there, which is great. I'm happy that there's gyms doing better than us. And there's gym owners doing better than us in that group that have multiple gyms doing better than us. And that's great. Like that's perfect. I'm also doing other businesses too, right? And so are they. And I think what's really cool, and I think this probably will hit a lot of gym owners that are maybe 10 years into this business, even maybe 7, 8 might hit them too. It's like, okay, the gym is doing what it's supposed to do at some level. What else is going on? What else should I be spending my time with? I think the coolest thing for me personally is when we started ProFit, it forced me to replace myself at that time, Pulse Fitness. And now that I've kind of started a new venture with the short-term rentals, it's forcing me to replace myself at ProFit with you and Zach to take the reins, and it forces me to move on. And that's how I've been kind of growing, I guess, at some level, being able to do multiple things. And that's what these guys are doing too. But I will say that even in this group, in the Iron Circle, even in them, in most people, gyms listening right now, getting out of the business is the biggest hurdle. And going back to my story, it's because I decided to take action outside the gym. It forced me to. For many others, if they don't have anything else, they don't have a reason to leave.
Mike McAllowitz, what's the first thing in order to get yourself out of your business? You are no longer the owner of a business. You're a shareholder in a company.
Yeah, you make decisions. You don't do the work, right?
And you're
and the biggest the takeaway is that the decision flows through the employees, not the
your job is job creation.
Yeah,
not fulfillment. Yeah, and but I mean, it is a big shift for a gym owner. If you think about the traditional route for somebody to get into that gym owner role, right? The majority of them, great trainer, worked somewhere else, got the opportunity to open up their gym, on the floor, training their clients, making some money, hiring some staff, getting help, growing a little bit. But like the challenges and the things that happen at each of those levels of growth, it's not the same thing that, you knew as a trainer that created a great business owner. It's quite the opposite, right? If you're a great trainer and you step in and you become a great business or a business owner, you're probably still a great trainer, and that's probably why you're not a great business owner. But to become a great business owner, you need to learn new skills, develop those skills, take action in that realm, and ascend into that next level. I think kind of through talking about this, it opens up my eyes to like each of those steps of growth. You had to step into the person, not just, okay, that's the next thing I have to go do, right? You have to put yourself around the people that are doing it. You have to understand and learn the concepts that make that next step successful, and then you have to go become that person and execute those things. But yeah, you have to be in the right room.
You have to change the person you are.
Yeah. Success is not to be pursued, it's to be attracted by the person you become. Was it Zig or Jim Rohn, one of their classics?
Yeah, and that's the truth, right? Because you can't be the trainer technician and be the owner, operator, leader guy at the same time. They're two skill sets that are not even close to the same. Yeah, you could be a leader on the training floor, but now that you have staff, it's totally different.
Absolutely.
And you know what's really cool about gym owners, there's no lack of work ethic. These folks, we work harder than any other business owner that I know of, period. I mean, maybe not a farmer. Okay, let's be honest. Those guys work their ass off.
Sure,
right?
yeah, they're around the clock, right?
But gym owners are not afraid to put the hours in. They're not afraid to get their hands dirty. They're not afraid to just get it done. You know, like don't go home till the work is done type of thing.
That's the greatest benefit. But now you pair that with a desire and an understanding that, hey, it's not all of the work shouldn't be happening on your shoulders, right? Like the understanding of that. Then the pursuit of knowledge of what it takes to reach the next level. Everybody, you guys are all at different levels. I mean, that's part of the reason why Tim and I talk about, different concepts and things. Some of you guys are listening to get to the point of where your monthly recurring's outdoing your base operating expenses, right? Like that's your goal. That's why we start here, right? Then from there, then we've got to build the systems of the business and get you to a point of stability, cross that delta line of now we're cash flowing, we've got a positive business. Now we got to start working on the systems of the business that are going to allow you to scale and step the hell away. Mm-hmm. But each of those things require different, like we can't teach the same concept to the guy on the left and the guy on the right and expect them both to benefit the same way. And you, as a listener, you need to make the choice on saying, okay, where am I in my journey? Yeah. What do I need personally in order for this to become who I need to be for this business to follow me to that next level? And I think that's a kind of the takeaway that I got from our conversation is, it always comes back to like becoming that individual, and it's easy to force. Like I said, we force growth. How? We put ourselves in the right room. We pursue a coach, or we hire a coach. We have something that's providing the information for us to take the action and then again receive the result.
Totally agree. And I think going back to the work ethic thing, just because. In fact, if you're like grinding all the time, he says it great. And he's like, you're doing it wrong. Mike Michalowicz is like, I used to be that guy that used to work, you got 5 hours of sleep. I only got 4 hours of sleep. And it was like a feather in the cap. It's the opposite, right? Mm-hmm. He's like, if you're doing it that way, you're doing it wrong, because the guys that are successful don't do that. They're the opposite. They get 8 hours of sleep and they've got plenty of time for anything because they've done it the right way. And I think the hardest thing for a gym owner to do is relinquish control, because
there's a big pride aspect of owning a business.
It's pride. It's they can't do it like me, or and I get it, because there's some stuff that I still won't let go. Sure. That I just like. Maybe I don't want to take the time to coach somebody. Or
could you imagine if you had that? Could you imagine if you had that across the realm? Like you just shared two businesses that you've essentially been able to figure out how the majority of that can come off your plate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You would not have had either of those opportunities, or to be able to succeed in each of those opportunities, had you not
relinquish. Yeah, totally. I get it. Yeah, and so when you're okay with that, I think your life changes a little bit. And probably one of the things that I'm going to tell you right now is going to be the opposite of what you normally think. Is the thing that gets your mind in a right position to be able to let go is to not care as much. It's the hardest thing to do. And be like okay with it being not as good as what you would have done, but being okay with it being 80%.
It's fun. We talk all the time, right? Like it's your business, right? Your employees aren't gonna I've seen so many people in that big push lately. Like Gary Vee's doing images all the time. He's like, of course your employees don't care about your business as much. It's your business, not theirs, right? Like there's some of it's just coming to terms with the natural, like that is a truth. It is just the way it is, right? We don't have to argue it. We could desire that everybody cares about it the same way, but it's not going to happen until their name's on it and it's theirs, right? So if that is the case, we can leverage it, because again, with great systems and great staff, you can grow and scale. It doesn't necessarily have to be 100%, but what is growth if it's 98% of that? You know what I mean? Yeah. If you're still growing at that level, right?
It's totally fine, and you have to be okay with it, and you have to be okay with it being okay, and not fantastic, amazing 5-star on every single thing. So you care a little bit less. You don't get so caught up in all the little things. Your life will be a little bit less stressful. I mean, that's one thing. You just let things go. Whatever. We could do better next time. Instead of getting so mad that, that person's fired and they got to.
Now I got to hire somebody else to train them. And,
exactly. Exactly. So listen, guys, the point of this show is that there's decisions that you make, there's actions that you take that either will help grow or keep you in the same place or essentially go backwards, because
we know there's no stagnation.
There's no status quo. There's growth or decay. Go back about 18 episodes ago, you'd probably hear that say that.
It'd be like episode 14 probably, yeah.
But you have to force the growth. You have to take the action. One of the biggest pieces of action you could take is go to the damn Growth Summit. You're sitting on the fence right now, like, why wouldn't you go? Why wouldn't you go? Oh, it's because it costs money to go? Well, is anything free? Like, are you just going to be in the same place next year? There's a gym owner out of California that came to our Growth Summit in Scottsdale. He went to Nashville, and he hasn't paid us a dime other than the ticket to the event, and I think he did a CLA. He said, my business has completely been transformed just at the things I learned at the Growth Summit for free. And he said that in Nashville, and then he joined the CLA program, and now he's like, I don't know what I would do without this. And he took the action, and his business is completely transformed in a good way. You can transform in a bad way too, absolutely. I guess, but it wouldn't be on a testimonial saying it was bad, right? And he just, he took action. So what are you doing sitting around when everybody else is going to be out here in Scottsdale, Arizona in June, listening from the speakers and learning and networking with other gym owners and sharing best practices and all this stuff that is specifically designed for the fitness micro gym industry, and you're going to sit at home? Well, then you deserve to be in the same place.
100%.
You deserve to go backwards.
And that's what falls back, action. That's exactly. It falls back on you as the listener, on us as individuals, right? Like, we are nobody else is responsible for this. Like, it's ours. I'm going
to read a testimonial. Again, we give away free advice all the time. We got a testimonial from over the weekend. I got a text message out of the blue. Okay. This guy hasn't paid us anything. He listens to this. Yep. He listens to the podcast. Catching up on your podcast, I just want to say thank you for all that you do. As I work out and listen to the episodes, I realized that this podcast was actually the #1 reason I decided to go all in on semi-private changing and change from boot camps back during COVID after we got shut down. January, February, and March are record months of growth, and we have really hit the tipping point as we move forward. It has truly changed my life. Thank you for all of this. And he shared his numbers, like a screenshot of his QuickBooks. He took action. Okay, so there's 419 episodes out there. Well, maybe even 420. I don't know, whatever.
Settles.
And here's a guy, gym owner. I don't even know where his gym is. I don't even know where it is. He's listening to the advice, and he took action, right? He took action, and he just said we changed his life. Like, that's kind of a big deal, right? Like, change his life.
I got one almost identical this weekend from our other buddy.
Okay,
it's worth the read, because you guys listening, this is you. These are people that are in our network. These are people that we work, we're close with, and same thing. We've talked about the models. Our buddy Tommy that just opened his gym this year.
Yep.
But he gave me his numbers, where he's at. He's got over 60 members on recurring already. And we started talking about that, and he goes, I owe it all to you guys. He goes, I would be slinging $50 a month memberships if it wasn't for you.
Yep.
Because at the end of the day, he was going to open up a traditional, open concept gym and offer training for those who wanted it.
Yeah, well, I know that story.
That's why he took action based on. It's not, advice, guys. Right? We're not just sitting here telling you this stuff because we're giving this away. We're not even charging you. Yeah, we're not even charging you for the information. So it's up to you to take it or leave it.
But there is no excuse for you to be in trouble. There's no excuse for you to be struggling.
No.
There is no excuse. The answers exist. There's no problem that can't be addressed. In the call that I had yesterday with a friend of mine who was in the STS, at the end of the call, I said, here's the good news. You've got 3 things you have to do. All of these problems you have are all fixable. Here's what sucks. These are hard to do.
Sure.
You got some emotion in some of these. You're going to have to let something go. You got to reinvest in this, and you got to change like these other things in your business. It's going to be hard. But guess what? That's why you get paid the big bucks. Him and his wife were there. Both chuckled. They know what they have to do now. Look, it's not rocket science. We've always said it.
We say it.
It's just hard, right? There's nothing easy in this world. What do you expect? Just to be easy? Yeah, if it was easy, everybody would be walking around as millionaire business owners with 6-packs. I don't see many of those folks running around the streets.
Not
right?
a bunch of them, no.
Right?
And we live in Scottsdale.
You just don't see it, right? It's just hard. And the hard things, take a lot of effort, and you just got to do it. But they all take action. So now he has a decision, and his wife had a decision. They could either not do it, or they can take the action, and by the end of this year, they'll be in a different place. I think I know which way they're going to go. But it's up to them. Like, absolutely. I'm not going to do it for them. They're going to make the decision and to take the action.
And that right there, I mean, that sums up the whole purpose of the conversation. It's the cost of inactivity. Right now, it's a potential gain that they're sitting on because of the actions that they can take. If they don't take those actions, that is the cost of inactivity.
Yep.
There again, like you said, there is no excuse. I mean, our pivot years ago when we went from more of the agency model, running ads and doing that for gym owners versus teaching the concepts that created the substantial business that we're sitting in, is exactly like that was the hard decision for us to make, because this is where you as gym owners benefit. Over there, we're providing you guys with the carrot. We're just taking you a little bit further. And after 2-3 years, we were having that hard conversation with our friends, and they were in this exact same boat. And so we changed what we were doing, and we said, all right, let's provide the information on the things that got us where Tim's Gym's at, that's allowed us to get here. And that's the stuff that we share with you. That's the stuff that we talk about in our Iron Circle. It's the stuff that we coach about in our coaching programs. But the action has to happen. That's the hardest part, and that's the one thing that we can't do for you guys.
Yep. The knowledge is there. If we don't have the answers, we can get the answers, which is pretty cool.
That's exactly.
If we had to. So, like, I don't think I've been stumped yet, but there's some people have asked questions that I've had to ask for second opinions on.
Sure.
And as I shouldn't just guess, right? So, listen, y'all. Hopefully you decide you want to come to the Grow Summit, fitprogrowsummit.com. Would love to shake your hand, tell stories, have a cocktail. I like bourbon.
Yeah. That's how that conversation happened with that gentleman. He came to the Grow Summit in Nashville, walked in the door, shook my hand. I had a bottle of bourbon. We sat down, having a drink, and now he's got a whole different business.
Oh, Tommy.
That's how it all started, was right there at the Grow Summit.
I can't wait to share with you guys. I'm closing on a house in Kentucky this week in the Bourbon Trail.
Yeah,
so that's going all in. That's what I'm talking about. All right, so that's it for this episode. Hopefully we'll see you in Scottsdale, Arizona, June 8th through 10th. fitprogrowsummit.com. That's it for this episode. Keep changing lives. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.
All right, and thank you for listening to that episode of the Built to Grow podcast, where we help gym owners win. Now, do you want to connect with me and other gym owners online? All you need to do is join our private Facebook group, Business Talk with Fitness Professionals. Just head on over to Facebook and type in Business Talk with Fitness Professionals, and when you do, we're going to give you our 10 marketing strategies 7-figure gym owners use to win. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Until then, keep building something great.